In this video, we're going to be looking at the difference between experimental and theoretical probability.
And we have SOL 7.8 A and B. So students are asked to determine the theoretical and experimental probabilities of an event and investigate and describe the difference between the experimental probability and theoretical probability. So the theoretical probability of an event is just the measure of the likelihood that it will occur. So the theoretical probability is the definition here. And probability is always measured between 0 and 1, and it can be displayed as a fraction, decimal, or percent. So you might see it in any of those forms there. You're going to be seeing something like P, parentheses, and then whatever they're asking for what's going to occur. That's just read as probability of the event. The way it's calculated is you put the number of favorable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. So in our first example, it says a bag contains 5 red marbles, 3 blue marbles, and 2 yellow marbles. 1 marble is selected at random. Find the probability of each outcome. So to find the probability of drawing yellow, there's only 2 yellow marbles in this bag, so we put 2 on top. That's the favorable outcomes. Over 10 is our total number of marbles in this entire bag if you count them all up. So that's the number of possible outcomes that we could have. So we have a 2 out of 10 chance of pulling a yellow marble out of the bag at random. And so that just is simplified to 1/5 in simplest form. You also could write this as 0.2 or 20%. Either of those would be good answers. For blue or yellow, we have 2 yellow and 3 blue. So in all, that's 5 marbles that would be okay for this event to happen. So we have 5 out of 10, and that's simplified to 1/2. For the next one, probability of red, blue, or yellow, that's all of the marbles in this bag. So that would be 10 out of 10 chance, which equals 1 over 1, or 1. So a 100% chance that you're going to get one of those colors. Now in our last one, it's asking for probability of getting purple. There are no purple marbles in here, so we do 0 out of 10, and 0 divided by anything is just 0. So there's a 0% chance that you will get a purple marble out of this bag because there are no purple marbles. Now that was theoretical probability, but experimental probability is based on an experiment. So theoretical probability was the event that should occur. So it's what we just did. It's what should happen. If this marble bag has 10 marbles and only 2 of them are yellow, then you theoretically have a 20% chance of pulling a yellow marble. But an experimental probability is when it's based on what actually occurred. So if we did an experiment where we pulled marbles out of this bag and put them back every time we pulled one out, and if we pulled out 100 marbles, if I got 25 of those marbles were yellow, my experimental probability would have been 25 out of 100, which is 1/4. That's not the same as what the theoretical probability was, but that's because it's based on my experiment. Those probabilities can be different. So theoretical is what should happen in theory or what should occur, whereas experimental is based on the experimental data. So once you actually do the experiment, this is what the probability then becomes. So it's important to kind of know the difference between that language so that when you're asked questions for theoretical versus experimental, you know which one they're talking about. So for an example, we have a coffee shop sells iced mochas, lattes, and hot chocolates. On Sunday, they sold 4 iced mochas, 7 lattes, and 5 hot chocolates. Find the theoretical and experimental probability that the next drink sold will be an iced mocha. So theoretically, there are only 3 types of drinks at this coffee shop. So there's a 1 out of 3 chance that the next drink sold will be an iced mocha because there's 3 drinks on total, and only one of those is what we want. We want an iced mocha, so 1 out of 3 chance. Experimental is based on the actual number of sales that this coffee shop had. So they sold 4 mochas, 7 lattes, and 5 hot chocolates. So altogether, they sold 16 drinks. So only 4 of those were iced mochas. That would mean that the experimental probability is 4 out of 16, which simplifies to 1/4. So the theoretical probability was 1/3 chance that somebody's going to get an iced mocha. But based on the data that they have from their sales, it's a 1/4 chance that the next one will be an iced mocha just based on that day's sales.